I'm going to go across from one budget conversation to the next. And I have with me Bruce McKenzie from the American Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And Bruce, you are, let me just zip across here, you're the Vice President of AMCHAM.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lisa.
I see you walk with your laptop and everything, fully prepared.
Well, you know.
We're going to ventilate this budget in 6 minutes.
Well, all right. So, yeah.
All right, so what are some, you heard the minister, so what are some of the jump out areas that you think would impact the population, the persons who are looking at, in where it affects them, in their bottom, in their pockets?
Right, okay, well, I think that's a good question. So the budget is always a snapshot view of a much longer process, right? So I think we have to, whenever we comment on it, and it's easy to be a commentator and criticize or applaud things, and I think we have to understand that the system we're in is a lot more complicated, and we have to, first of all, give thanks to all of those in the ministries and the secretariats, etc., for a tremendous amount of work that goes into even preparing this 1 year budget view. But a couple of the things that jumped out at us when we were listening to the budget in the AMCHAM office is, first of all, it wasn't maybe said very, reported very clearly, but it's about digital transformation.
Okay.
So I see a lot of improvements starting to trickle through that will benefit the population in terms of digital transformation. So if you look at the pensioners, removing the need for the life certificate for persons born in Trinidad and Tobago, which is really about using the single electronic unique identifier to identify each person living in the country. And that now, if we adopt that as a standard, we can really deliver social services very accurately without
any fraud,
corruption, etc., to where the resources are needed. So it allows us to become more efficient. Also, if you look at being able to file your taxes online, there were a couple other things in the licensing department. Revolutionizing the licensing department is fantastic. So we in the business community really want more of this. We're greedy for digital transformation. We want more.
Because that's the fourth industrial revolution. And that's where disruption is taking place.
Yes, so
and I know that's where you are. I know that's where your focus is at AMCHAM.
Yes.
All right, and particularly with regard to how are you going to help members of the population break this down? Is there something that AMCHAM does to help us understand better?
Well, certainly we look at the budget, but what we like to look at is the entire cycle. So we have to be able to link the budget to the medium-term planning framework and really try and understand for ourselves and for the population to interrogate it and say, okay, what is the plan for the country going forward? So we've got a 1 year plan, but how does that, how sure are we're going to hit those targets? So the minister in his presentation alluded to the fact that we will have a balanced budget by 2022.
Okay.
We have had a fiscal deficit for the last 9 years, and we continue to increase our debt profile. Our competitiveness as a global institution for capital, many commentators in the industry feel that it's eroding. There's a lot of work to be done in understanding how what we do in one given year affects the next 5 or the next 3.
So let me ask you something. Are you saying that it is probably not possible, or it's possible with a lot of work by the population in terms of increased productivity?
Of course it's possible. Anything is possible. There's nothing that can stop Trinidad and Tobago from turning its ship and writing its course. And in fact, if I'm being fair, the government, when it assumed office, had a lot of issues to deal with, right? So you had the Petrotrin issue, you had the CLICO collapse, and on top of that, we had a change in oil prices going from plus $100 to down to $26 at its lowest point. You can see that a lot of focus and attention has been devoted into providing stability, right? So what we don't see is where the growth is. Now, with that being said, if you look at the measures for agriculture.
Can I interrupt you there? Because managing a ship, if you're stabilizing a ship, it's very challenging to manage growth at the same time.
Yes.
This is just me from the private sector. So if you're coming out of a deficit position and you're managing that deficit and trying to stabilize that ship, to do both is very challenging. It's not impossible, but it's because it sort of requires dual vision.
Yes.
You know, so.
And that's what we're asking for. We want
Yeah.
to see more of the dual vision. There may be more dual vision that's behind the scenes that's being worked. We want to uncover that and let the public have a chance to debate and get involved in that future
But it
vision.
also requires commitment to productivity as well, because it can't be that it's left to the CEO or the managing director or the head of the state, for example, to just take that through. Everyone, it trickles down into the lowest level. If I am not productive in my own little way, then it trickles towards the entire society being in a deficit budget at the end of the year.
Absolutely.
And I think people don't understand that. You know?
Right.
I don't think people understand that. I want to continue with some of the things that affects people. So there seems to be a little more spending power. So minimum wages go from 15 to 1750. You know, CPEP wages increased by 15%, URP wages increased by 50%, OGT stipends. So there's more spending power. What would this mean for the economy?
Well, generally, an increase in spending power leads to an increase in consumption.
Right.
So what we have to be careful of is what that does to inflation.
Okay.
All right. But I mean, in terms of the rationale for the increases, there was no rationale provided, so I can't comment on it. But I can just note that there are increases, and the effect of increases are to increase consumption.
Okay. So we need to watch that. Okay. AMCHAM. I know you guys are having an event very soon. Tell me about it.
It's on Wednesday at the Hilton.
Yes.
And we will have. We're fully sold out, I'm glad to report. It's always good for an association to sell out. It's we will have Roger Hossain delivering a presentation, and then we have a panel discussion with myself and a number of other executives.
And you're talking about the budget.
And we are talking about the budget, and then in that conversation we're going to unwrap and go a little bit deeper into some of the areas that where we think are very good things being done, and where we think more can be done.
Which is fair.
Yeah, it is fair, because we have to come together in the country in order to make change.
Yes.
And change is no one immediately runs towards change, right, Lisa?
Yes. I know that.
We have to do it together.
And that's the point I was making earlier, that if you're saying that we're moving towards a balanced budget in 2 years, it's not going to be one person, it's not going to be one sector. It has to be done across the board. Yeah,
The only way.
It's the only way. Hand in hand. We have to move together. All right. Well, Bruce, I want to thank you so much for coming. You said your event is sold out.
Yeah.
I was just going to say everybody, but that's where we're going tomorrow. But you know, it's sold out.
Well, thank you, Lisa.
Yeah, thank you. And we need to have some more conversations, business bites on the morning show.
Anytime.
All right. Thank you so much.
Great.
Okay.